guys had any tips for like getting rid of things that you create. So whether that's like voice memos or papers or like you written in school or like random stuff that you've like created, like journal entries, like all that.
Let me ask you this. You said Melanie?
Yes.
What why do you want to get rid of them?
I think it's if I like accidentally lost my phone or something, knowing and not really knowing what's there.
Yeah.
Maybe. So if I knew what was there, it'd be easier to let go of, maybe, if that makes sense.
Okay, so you want to let go of them.
And it's not organized. Oh.
Hey.
And it's not organized because it's just tons.
Right. And so, well, the easiest way to organize your stuff is to get rid of most of it. And that way we don't have to organize our things. With digital clutter, it's a little bit different, right? So digital clutter becomes a problem only when it gets in the way. There's so much digital clutter out there. You'll never make it to the end of the internet, right? So the internet is full of all this clutter. We have access to it, but we haven't accumulated it on our own. What you're saying is something a little bit different. You have some accumulations, whether it's on your phone or computer or hard drives or anywhere else. And some of these things may be useful to you, but it seems to me the reason you're asking this question is because it feels to you either A, like they're getting in the way, or B, and this is the dangerous one, so let's be careful with this, let's unpack it. B, you feel like you're supposed to get rid of it. And I want to be careful with that because here's what happens. We try to pursue happiness through accumulating a bunch of things, right? And so if I just have if I just get things, I'll be happy. If I get more things, I'll be happy. Didn't work. You know what's going to work? More things. And so we just try it for a decade or 2 decades or 4 decades. And we never get there. In fact, the objects of our desire start to become the objects of our discontent. They start making us miserable. And so then what do? You know what's going to make me happy? If I just get rid of the things. And so we let go of the things. We rent a dumpster and throw all our stuff in it and it catches on fire or whatever. And we think that's going to make us happy. And then quite often people come to us and say, hey, I got rid of all my stuff. Why didn't it make me happy? Oh, because you thought getting rid of the stuff was going to make you happy. That is just another form of consumerism in a way. Real consumerism is buying things because you think they're going to make you happy or complete. That's all consumerism is. But the reverse of that would be getting rid of things because you think it's going to make you happy or complete, right? And then so what do we do when I got rid of the things? Here was the problem, though. I didn't have the right things. And so it wasn't the Lexus, it should have been a Mercedes. Nothing wrong with either one of those cars, by the way, but thinking those are the things that are going to make us happy, that's where it becomes a problem. And so the reason it's a problem is because happiness is something that's intrinsic. It can't be uncovered. It can't be pursued. It can only be uncovered. And so when I think about all those voice notes, if it's because you feel like you should get rid of them, I wouldn't worry about them because that's someone else's should. That's not yours. If, however, you feel like, oh, they're actually getting in the way of my life, then yeah, we could talk about that. So which is it for you?
I think it's probably a little both.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Okay. So in what ways are they getting in the way for you?
Well, I can't find, it's harder to find what I actually want because there's too many.
Okay. So when you're doing these voice memos, I assume you're recording something and you're just like, now I've recorded it, at least it's out of my head, it's somewhere, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. But now it's causing a new worry for you. You just have this abundance of these voice notes.
Well, I like writing songs, so it's like the first one is like not right, so I do it again, and then it's like, oh, it's a little better, and then another one. So I was like, oh, it's kind of cool to look back and see how a song started and then what it kind of gets to, but
sure.
So it's like a journal in a way, almost, for songs. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you have to determine how much value these things have for you.
Right.
For me, if they extract value from my life when they get in the way. So I could tell you that this book went through 9 different drafts.
Yeah, did you keep them?
No. God, that'd be ironic, right? I printed them out, and they're in the Minimalist Museum. No, but they were important. They were an important part of the process, right? And so I can acknowledge that. I can be grateful for them. And when I let go of them, I can say, wow, that really helped. Draft 4 really helped me get to draft 5, right? And then it's really, really easy to click delete.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, man, we don't really know what we're doing, honestly. But we know what we're doing for us. And, you know, if I put myself in your shoes, I think, like, the boundaries that Josh and I talk about a lot, like, that's really what helps me. So I do something similar where I have this notepad in my phone that I keep all these, like, jokes or ideas for jokes or, like, these beginnings of jokes. Because, like, my like side project someday I'm gonna like do a 5-minute like open mic night or something. You know, you live in LA, you gotta do something, you gotta do some kind of performance thing, right? But what I do is I will go through them you know, once every 6 months, once every year. In fact, talking about it right now is reminding me, I'm like, oh man, I haven't gone through those in a couple months. And I just refine the things that I have. So I don't have an exact deadline on it, but you can't put a deadline on it. But it makes me think about like I don't know, the spontaneous combustion rule. Like, that's something that Josh and I talk about a lot. So you can look at something, you could look at a book, you could look at a note or a voice memo and like ask yourself like, oh, how would I feel if this spontaneously combusted right now and was gone? Like, would I be devastated or would I be a little bit relieved? And if you're relieved, then that's like a sure, you know, fire sign that maybe it's okay to let that thing go. But I think with this whole journey of minimalism, I mean, that's really what Josh and I have really landed on, just with these boundaries. Like, that's kind of, you know, we made room for the important things, and to keep that room there, we have to set up these different boundaries and guidelines. So I think maybe something, even the spontaneous combustion rule, you can go through your phone and just listen to a voice memo and be like, how would I feel? Like right now, if I asked you, like, how would it feel if you went to your phone and all of a sudden, like, somehow I magically deleted all those voice memos? Would you be devastated?
All of them?
Yeah, like half of them. Let's say 50% of them.
The bad ones.
but okay, so there are some in there that you can totally use this with. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. I guess
Cool.
it's like photos too, like
Oh.
It's like the ones leading up to it. You would want to delete them, but get rid of the. And I have a hard time with that too. So
Let's talk about photos real quick, because this is something that applies to everyone in here.
Yeah. The worst is like you go to take a photo and you take 7 of them because you want to get like the best one, and then you don't get rid of the 6 that you don't want. You keep the 7. Yeah.
So I have 2 boundaries with photo taking. One is when I take a photo, and this will seem crazy to some of you, I take only 1 photo. But we have these devices that allow us to take 40 in a row. It's like, ding, 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 ding. And so what we're doing is we just have 70 of the same photo, and then it's just like, oh, yeah, I'll like one of them. And so I got this was actually a tip from a friend of mine who's a photographer, and he uses film, actual film. And so he's like, every picture, I can't just take 7 of the same thing. And I'm like, I can do that with my phone. I can just treat it like it's film. And so even if it's like blurry with my thumb in it, well, that's the one I took. And it's awesome. And the reason I do it is that constraint is incredibly freeing, because I've just told myself, oh, now I don't have to go take a bunch more photos, try and get the perfect photo. I'm no longer able to keep taking those. In addition to that, whenever I have a trigger, anytime I get on an airplane, this could be any other thing for you, but we tend to fly quite a bit. I was doing it yesterday when we were on an airplane. I just go in and look at my camera roll and delete anything that I'm like, I don't want to save this, don't want to save this, don't want to save this. So having some sort of, it could be the first of the month could be the trigger, or it could be anytime I go to this restaurant, or whatever it is. Anytime I'm here, I'm going to spend 5, 10, 15. The first time it's going to be 2 hours on the airplane. That's why I did it on the airplane. I'm forced to just go through all of them. And those 2 boundaries really help me out. And I think you could extend that to your voice memos as well. Thanks for your question.
Thanks for being here.
Did you enjoy this video? If so, you can listen to full episodes of the Minimalists private podcast, available exclusively on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/theminimalists today. Your support keeps our podcast and YouTube channel 100% advertisement free.